Students, today we will study about isomerism. Today we will study about an optical isomerism. Next, we proceed to optical isomerism. Optical isomerism is another type of stereoisomerism which occur in those compounds which have non-superimposable mirror images. Now, we will understand what do we mean by non-superimposable mirror images. So mirror images is quite clear that you just place a mirror and the object and its image, they are mirror image of each other. The best example is our hand. So the left hand is mirror image of the right hand and the right hand is mirror image of the left hand. So similar to the hand, we have taken this organic compound. As you can clearly see, the carboxylic group COOH and this COH, they are mirror image. R and R alkyl group are mirror image. NS2 amide group, they are mirror image. Then hydrogen. This compound is mirror image of this compound and this compound is mirror image of this compound. So these two are mirror images of each other. Now the second criteria is non-superimposable. If you pick up this compound and keep over this compound, then they will not superimpose. As you can clearly check with your hand, the left hand do not superimpose over the right hand or the right hand do not superimpose over the left hand. So such type of isomers will be known as optical isomer of each other, or they are also called as enantiomer. Optical isomers or enantiomer. So how you are going to check? Each time it is not possible to draw the mirror image and then check. Sometimes it becomes very difficult. So we introduce a concept of chiral center. What is a chiral center? A chiral center is a center, right? Carbon atom which is attached to 4 different atom or group, then such center is known as chiral center or asymmetric carbon atom. So for optical isomerism, we will just check this whether a carbon atom is having 4 different carbon atom attached to it or not. If 4 different groups or atoms are attached to it, then it will be chiral and it could show optical isomerism. So in this case, first case, it has 4 different atoms attached to it, so it is chiral, so it will show optical isomerism. Analyze this case. First carbon, 3 hydrogen atoms same, so not chiral. Second carbon atom, this is 1 carbon atom. On the other side there are 2 carbon atoms, so these 2 groups are different. Hydrogen and chlorine, so these 2 atoms are different. So 4 different atom or group are attached to 2 carbon, so it is chiral and it could exhibit optical isomerism. So for our optical isomerism, the test is just check the chiral center. So let's analyze in which of these cases there will be chiral center and in which case there will be no chiral center. Just do it for yourself. Okay, done. Let's check. For first case, for 1 carbon, no. 2 carbon, no. 3 carbon, no. 4th carbon, no. So not chiral. Second case, 1 carbon, no. Same hydrogen. 2 carbon, 2 hydrogen are same, no. For this one, hydrogen and chlorine, 2 different. Then one side it is ethyl and the other side it is methyl. So this is having a chiral center. Okay, so third is having chiral center because 4 different atom or group are attached to it. Further, this one same again, this carbon same, this carbon 2 hydrogen same, so not chiral. Again 3 methyl groups are attached to this carbon, so not chiral. The test of chirality is 4 different carbon atoms or 4 different atoms or group should be attached to a carbon, that is a symmetric carbon. A symmetric carbon means 4 different atoms or group are attached to it, then only it will have a chiral center and it could exhibit optical isomerism. Next is non-superimposable mirror image. So this isomer is mirror image of this isomer. So these two are mirror images of each other, as you can clearly see. And if you try to stack one isomer over the other, then they will not superimpose. That's why we say it non-superimposable mirror images. So for any compound exhibiting optical isomerism, this is the necessary criteria. So can you just see which of the common objects which are mirror images and superimposable? Just bring a mirror and test it. First, take example of a spoon. All the spoons are mirror images of each other, and when you stack one spoon over the above it, then they superimpose. So they are mirror images and superimposable. Books, they are superimposable but they are not the mirror images. Okay. In hand, they are mirror images but not superimposable. So the essential criteria for optical isomerism is they should be mirror images and non-superimposable. Just take a brief idea about the polarity, why we are studying about the optical isomerism, what is the need. So we'll discuss some of the aspect to just give you a slight idea why we study about optical isomerism, why we are giving it so much of importance. Okay, so simple is like any light source, it produces light vibrations in all direction. So by a polarizing filter we allow only light vibration in one direction, so it will be plane polarized light. So when you allow a plane polarized light to pass through a sample, and if its plane is twisted or rotated either clockwise or anti-clockwise, both side it could rotate either clockwise or anti-clockwise, this direction or this direction. In this example we have rotated in clockwise direction, and if it rotates, then by analyzing filter you can just check whether it has rotated or not. If it has rotated, then the sample is showing optical isomerism. It is rotating the plane polarized light either on the right hand side or on the left hand side. If it's rotate on the right hand side, then it is known as dextrorotatory or D, and if it rotates it to the left hand side or anti-clockwise, then it is known as levorotatory or L. D and L form. You might have encountered this in case of sugar, they write D sugar, or in case of ribose, D ribose. Okay, so in optical isomers what they will do is they will have a different reaction towards the plane polarized light. Okay, what is plane polarized light? That any light which is having vibration only in one direction. So if our isomer will rotate light to the right side, then it will be right side dextrorotatory. If on the left side, then it will be levorotatory. Okay, and by observing with the analyzing filter you can just tell whether the plane polarized light has rotated or not, or rotated in which direction, right or left, and accordingly we assign it the nomenclature D or L, dextro-rotatory or levo-rotatory. And we can also measure the amount of rotation, and this is very helpful in studying the kinetics of a chemical reaction. Kinetics means the rate of a chemical reaction, or we can also study the orientation or the forms, whether it is D form or L form. You will study all these in higher classes. So we assign dextro-rotatory a symbol D or plus form. So if you encounter these symbol before any organic compound, just recall about optical isomer. Plus form means it is rotating the plane polarized light to the right hand side, and minus means levo-rotatory L, it is rotating the plane polarized light in the left hand side. Okay, then suppose if there is a mixture of the isomer, both these enantiomer, they are having 50-50% mixture, then such mixture is known as racemic mixture or racemate, and they will cancel out optical effect of each other. Half of the molecule will rotate the plane polarized light to the right side and half will rotate it to the left side, and overall the result will be 0. So overall the mixture will be what? It will be optical active or optically inactive. Since the resultant is 0, so it will be optically inactive. So racemic mixture, they are optically inactive, though the two enantiomer, they individually show optical isomerism, but overall you will not see any net effect. Okay, so why we study optical isomerism? This study is very essential in biochemistry and pharmaceutical industries, because most of the amino acids, they form proteins, DNA, RNA, etc. They are all have the amino acid as the basic building block, so they exhibit optical activity, and by studying this optical activity, it is very helpful in analysis of the drugs, because drug having this optical activity, one of the form like D form and L form, they both will have different reaction. So it is possible that only D form is giving the desired result, whereas L form is either producing no effect or it may be producing negative effect. So if we study about this and we have the knowledge, then by careful preparation of that drug, we can reduce or eliminate the formation of other isomer. Okay, or we can separate this isomer, and by doing that, what will happen is we just require small doses of the drug. Small dose means low price, so it will be cost efficient, and we have removed the harmful one, so it will be safer, having low side effects. So overall the pharmacological activity of the drug will improve. Okay, for example, let's see the synthesis of lactic acid. Okay, this is just to give you a brief idea about how the optical isomer are being form. It is not part of your syllabus. It is just to give you an insight. Okay, for example, we are preparing lactic acid, so it can be prepared from ethanol in two stages. In first stage we will add hydrogen cyanide to it by nucleophilic addition, and then we will do hydrolysis of the nitrile group, this group CN, to form our desired product lactic acid. Okay, so let's analyze. In first stage the CN will attack this C double bond O. So what is the hybridization of this carbon atom? It is sp2, so it is planar structure. So this cyanide nucleophile can attack from below the plane or above the plane. Okay, so the two isomer will be generated, like it will attack from below the plane or it will attack from this side. Okay, so two isomer will be generated, a mixture of two enantiomers, and finally when you do the hydrolysis of this nitrile group, then you will get the two enantiomers of the lactic acid. Okay, they are non-superimposable mirror images of each other. So this way, if you cannot control the attack, it is random, so it can attack from the above the plane or the behind the plane. That's why it is very essential to study the optical activity of these compounds. Let's see why we are stressing so much on optical activity. There is a compound known as thalidomide. Okay, so thalidomide was a drug which was used in 1960s to treat anxiety and morning sickness in case of pregnant women. And as you can see, this thalidomide drug, it has two enantiomer. It is chiral, the center. So it is having four different groups attached to it. So one will be D form, other will be L form. Okay, and out of these two, only one isomer, the structure on the right, this one, this was effective and safe in treating this anxiety and morning sickness, whereas this enantiomer, it was counterproductive. It leads to deformities and missing limbs in case of newborn child. Okay, and this could be known only after the study of optical isomerism. Like while you are preparing this drug thalidomide, there is very less control whether the attack is from the top or from the back, and because of that two different isomers could be produced, enantiomers. So when we came to know about the ill effect of this compound, then the use of this drug was banned. That's why optical isomerism is so much important in pharma industries, because this could help us identify the side effect or the ill effects, undesirable effect of the other isomer. And if we know that, then we will just try to produce only the desirable enantiomer. So we will just modify our manufacturing process and by that you can make it cost efficient, and also you can reduce the ill effects, enhance the pharmacological efficiency of the drugs. That's why optical isomerism is so important in pharma industry. Okay, so that's all for the isomerism. Let's do the revision. So what you should be able to do after this lecture, first is recall the definition of structural isomerism and stereoisomerism and the isomerism. Okay, then you should be able to explain and understand how the structural, geometrical and optical isomerism arise. Okay, structural isomerism, molecular formula same, but the structure formula will be different. There are 4 different types in chain isomer. The chain, carbon chain will different. Next is position isomer. The position of the functional group will be different. Then functional group isomer, the functional group itself will be different. And the last one is metamerism. The alkyl group about the functional group will be different. Geometrical isomer, why they occur? Because of the restricted rotation of the bond, C double bond, C bond. Because of restricted rotation, there will be different orientation of the group or atom attached to the carbon atom. Optical isomerism, they, because of chirality, the unsymmetrical carbon, the carbon which have 4 different atoms or group attached to it, will change or rotate the plane polarized light either on right side extra-rotatory plus, or on the left side levorotatory or minus. And this is important, how to work out the possible isomer of a given formula. Please be very careful while you are writing question, especially in case of objective examples. What the question is asking, whether they are asking isomers, then you have to write all the isomer, structure as well as stereo. If they ask only structure, then write structure. See whether what type of structure isomer are possible. If they are asking only chain isomer, then just write chain isomer. If they are asking position, or they are asking functional group, or they are asking metamerism. Okay, so be very careful what type of isomerism they are asking, whether they are asking just one or 2, 3 different type of isomerism. And finally, the importance of optical activity, as we have done the case of thalidomide. Okay, so optical activity is very important in pharma industry in case of drugs. Okay, thank you.